Hey guys, welcome back or welcome if you're new here. I am Aling. Today I wanted to do a cozy book sharing chat.
I feel it's really been a while since my last book vlog. It's been a really long time since my last video in English. I used to have an English channel, but I stopped doing that. It's just too much work. But since all the books I'm talking about today are in English, so I just feel it's more natural and fitting in this way to share all the books that I have read. At the end of last year, when I was planning my reading for 2026, I set up a goal for 26 books because it's for 2026, including 5 English books. And halfway through 2026, I finished reading, I think, 15, 16-ish, hitting the goal of finishing 5 English books, so I'm very happy. To be honest, outside of my work, I prefer to read Chinese. First, obviously, this is my mother tongue, so it's easier for me to understand and enjoy the beauty of the language. Second, even though I've been living here for 16 years, I always feel like a part of me is still left back home. Reading Chinese feels like a bridge that keeps me tightly connected with my hometown and remind me where I came from. That familiar feeling is just very comforting. At the same time, I try to challenge myself at different aspects every year, especially after I get to know the concept of neuron plasticity, which means that as an adult, you don't really develop any new neural cells, but through some methods, you can still change the connection of neural cells. So learning new things is always a good thing. That's why I try to learn a new language, a new skill, a new sport, or master something. And last year, I was like, let me try to read more English books besides of my work. So I set up a goal as 5 books. I don't want it to be too ambitious. The way I pick up my books really depends on the season and my mood. During winter or springtime, I wanted to read something that's really warm and can really hold me. Early this year, I actually read 2 or 3 self-help books because I was really sad and I had a really hard time. My dog Momo passed away, so I feel like it's really hard for me to get out of the grave. I tried to do that. I was very naive. That's why I picked the 2 self-help books to find out the answer of how to getting out that feeling, that sadness and the grief. Then I realized I can't. I can only live with it. There's no way for me to not missing Momo. I still have a lot of photos and videos of Momo, but now I know that I can live with it. So grab a cup of drink. I'm having my black coffee and let's get started. First up, let's talk about the easy one. This is The Let Them Theory by Mel Robbins. I am going to be 100% honest with you. I didn't really like that book that much. It's a basic self-help book that you've probably heard a million times. But here is why I am still talking about it. This book is perfect for beginner reader. The main idea is let people do whatever they want and stop stressing. So if you just wanted to have the feeling of finishing reading a whole book in English to build your confidence, just to grab this one. This is gonna be a very good one, and I'm sure somehow you will get something from this book after reading it. The next book is Don't Believe Everything You Think, Why Your Thinking is the Beginning and End of Suffering. I think this is a perfect book for people who like to overthink everything. I used to like to overthinking everything, but now I think I have finished that lesson and I stopped overthinking things. But I still obtain a lot from reading this book. I think the readability is very high. This is also very super easy to read and very straightforward to the point. So the main takeaway is this. Most of the anxiety doesn't really come from our life. It comes from our brain overthinking everything. This book gives you really practical tips of how to stop overthinking and what is the difference between thought and the thinking. If you're a big overthinker and that bothers you, I think this book is gonna help you, or at least give you some tips of how to get better. Of non-fiction that I wanted to share is The Year of Magical Thinking. I read this book when I was in a vacation. I think it's the perfect time for me to read this book. She wrote this book after his husband suddenly passed away. Meanwhile, her daughter was very sick and stayed in a hospital. It sounds really sad. The way that she writes about her grave is just so beautiful and so true. Her memories are very detailed. I think probably because of the language barrier that really gave me some space from all the sadness. It's just a really beautiful book. After all the 3 books, I wanted to share 2 novels. The very first one is called The Midnight Library by Matt Haig. He's also the author of the other book that's also probably very popular, which is How to Stop Time. I think I randomly picked up the other book called The Impossible Life. I do really like that book. So after I got home, I immediately decided to get this one, The Midnight Library. You can tell that I actually made a lot of notes. I really like this story. This book is about a girl called Nora. Her parents died. She has a brother, but hasn't been in touch with her for a long time. She has a cat, but had a car accident. She has part-time jobs. Somehow she messed up and she's on medication because of her depression. She's living a desperating life. That's why she wants to kill herself. Somehow she entered a place called the Midnight Library. Each book represents a different life that she could have. So I think the main idea of this book is to ask a question that many people may have thought about. What if I made different choices? Will my life be better? Is there a shortcut? Is there a perfect life? The whole story is very attractive that you cannot stop reading it. So I suggest that you don't read this right before you go to bed. Otherwise, you're gonna like me that stay very late to try to finish this book. I don't wanna tell you the end of this story. I think every person will have their own answer after reading this one. One story in this book is about Nora and her cat. This little part reminded me of me and Momo. So I cried, but there are other parts that are very funny. If you aim to be something that you are not, you will always fail. Aim to be you. Aim to look and act and think like you. Aim to be the truest version of you. Embrace that you-ness. Endorse it. Love it. Work hard at it. And don't give a second thought when people mock it or ridicule it. I hope I read this book when I was younger, when I was like in my 20s. I used to think I'm a very awful person. I cannot accept some features of my personalities. I try to change them. I try to deny them. I didn't realize that it's somehow, some degree, I was trying to deny myself. So this part really remind me, how should I think about myself? I think this is a really good story. If you're interested in reading some novels and as a beginner reader, I think you're gonna like this one. I personally don't like to stop and check the word. I think that will affect the flow of reading the whole story. I will just circle that, and after finishing a chapter or a few pages, or at least periodically stopped, I will check the word and see what does that mean. In general, I don't feel those vocabularies that you are not familiar with gonna stop reading or understanding the whole story. Okay, moving to a harder one. This is a hard book for me. First, it's very long. Second, the beginning of this book is very slow. There are a lot of descriptions. So yeah, I don't think this is for a beginner reader. I somehow finished reading this book, but it took me so long. This is Cat's Eye by Margaret Atwood. So a little backstory about this author. I first get to know Margaret Atwood because of the TV drama The Handmaid's Tale. I fell so into that one. After watching the drama, I went to get the book immediately. That was the very first book that I read written by Margaret Atwood. I always have this special soft spot for female writers. The way that they look at this whole world and the way they describe and capture those very unspoken emotions are very unique. Margaret Atwood is one that I like a lot. The other is who wrote My Brilliant Friends. This book is about a woman who, looking back at her childhood and deal with a very toxic girl friendship. The whole story is so true. A lot of teeny tiny awkward moments among girls are so true. Reading this book gave me goosebumps. But I have to say that writing is very heavy. The beginning can be a little bit hard to follow, but if you're patient enough, you will have this feeling like this is a really good story. There are some friendships are really painful and toxic. However, I didn't know what to do, and I didn't even figure out this is toxic for me until I look back those time and I realized, okay, this is not the right friendship. If you wanted to have a story that you can sink your teeth into, you're absolutely gonna love this one. Next book, I am halfway through. This book is The Creative Art, A Way of Being. This book talks about creativity and how to start your own work from the scratch. Seems like this book is for artists, content creator. I'm not a full-time content creator, but I do enjoy reading this book. This is so far one of my favorite books, and it has been incredibly inspiring. Sometimes I feel I'm not really reading a book that's about art. I'm reading a book about philosophy. I am halfway through, and hopefully I can finish reading this book by the end of August. Now I wanted to briefly go through some books that I haven't get started yet, but on my list. So this one is The Correspondent. First I saw this book and when I was in Barnes Noble. I feel this is gonna be a good one. The book is all about one woman's letters to herself, to other people. This book is the year's breakout novel. Conversations with God. Again, I feel I finished a few pages. I know this is a very classical book. A lot of people have recommended to me. I first saw, probably this is about religion. But then after reading a few pages, I know this is not so typical religion book. It's about life. I feel this is gonna be a very inspiring book. So I am going to read this one. This is book 1. This is a more practical book called No New Things. A radically simple 30-day guide to saving money, the planet, and your sanity. Last year, I did declutter my closet. If you have watched my videos, you probably remember that. I had so many clothes that some I didn't even know they exist. I realized, okay, I spent too much money on buying things that I'm not going to use or I never use. Then I came across to this book. I just wanted to know what are all the tips and tricks and suggestions about how to start buying new things. I'm probably gonna try the 30-day guide and see if it does work The last one I probably gonna read is also from Margaret Atwood. This is Testament. The story is related to The Handmaid's Tale. I like The Handmaid's Tale. I probably gonna like this one. I just hope she doesn't use a lot of words that's too hard for me. I have a feeling it might not be because I think this book is more recently. I also have a few other books that I picked yesterday, like Hello Beautiful, one novel from Didion, I can't remember the name, The Tray in Brooklyn. There's one more book actually. I'm reading this one, Parallelly Fried Rain Tomatoes at the Whistle Stop Cafe. I first get to know this book because the Chinese version is very popular, so I wanted to read this one. I bought the original copy. I feel novels are always easy to get started when you read in another language. Those are all the books that I have talked about today. Ooh, those are heavy. At last, I wanted to share some thoughts about reading a different language. As a non-native speaker, I wanted to speak like a native speaker. I wanted to read as a native speaker. After being here for 16 years, I knew that it's not possible for me. Some people can do it, but at least for me, I know that it's not possible. I have no problem with communicating with other people. I have no problem to express how I feel, what I think for my work or in my daily life. That's enough. That suffices all my needs. I think a language is just a tool. As long as you know how to use it, it should be good. Reading everything in English was very challenging for me. Right after I came here, I think it takes time. If you are a beginner reader, as a non-native speaker, and you wanted to get started with reading something in English, the hardest part is to get started. From 0 to 1, after you get started, you know how you feel. You know, as more and more you read, you get to know where to go. At the beginning, I personally prefer to read English novels. Readability for novels is actually higher than non-fictions. But I think it's just a personal choice. It really depends. If you are interested in history, go with history. If you're interested in novels like me, just pick up a novel. As I mentioned, getting started is the most difficult part. After the first stage, you at least have a flavor of how does it feel. So if you're non-native speaker, if you are a beginner reader, just go to a bookstore and check out different types of books and see which one you can easily get into it. Then that's probably gonna be the one for you. If you're still watching this video, I hope you find this is helpful and I hope you enjoy this one. Probably I will film another video for all the Chinese books that I have read so far. If you are interested, please subscribe. If you have read any books that are really good, please leave me a comment. How do you conquer the difficulties of reading a book or literature in another language? Do you have any practical tips? I like to learn from different aspects. It's a really rainy day today, not my favorite days. I feel I'm just in the mood to talk about all the books that I have read. So this is probably gonna be a very long video. Everybody have a nice weekend and I will see you next time.